I'm pleased to sponsor the Alternative Interview.
Cross is a beauty for Tim Sills. Aldershot announced their arrival in the conference, and it's one of their new recruits, Tim Sills, who quickly shows what he's all about.
Okay, Tim, good to see you. It's as we were just talking off air there, it's a bit of a strange time, isn't it? But you as a teacher, you're sort of still in the thick of it under new sort of rules and regulations, no doubt.
Yeah, it's just really strange. I mean, doing it virtually is obviously a challenge, and there's plenty of media talk and everything about the effect it has on education and things. But we're putting on lessons as best we can. I think this time round we're a lot more prepared than we were for the first lockdown. So in terms of putting on better lessons that are going to be more useful for the students and things is now something that we put in place. So hopefully no one falls too far behind, but yeah, it certainly comes with its struggles, and it's nice now to have a week where the kids aren't looking at a computer screen the whole time, and the same for us as teachers as well.
And I'm sure a few of your kids might tune in and watch your talk about you and your footballing career, because it's a pretty decent one. There's no doubt about that, and we'll cover your career, especially your time at Aldershot, because we've been doing that with a few old players and managers over the last few months. But it's a bit more than Aldershot as well with your career, and it's a pretty special one. It says here that you were born in Romsey in 1979. That tells me you're 41, and you don't look any different now to when you were playing.
That's I do tell people I'm like a fine wine, but it's nice to hear somebody else say it rather than myself trying to tell it. So yeah, no, absolutely, and I haven't had to quite resort to dyeing my hair properly yet, so we're all right. It's very kind.
So let's talk about your early days, sort of growing up, and I've got a bit here that you spent a bit of time in Germany as well. So when you were growing up, so talk to me a little bit about growing up and your football experiences.
Well, I always say I was very fortunate to have three older brothers. So obviously, I had Mark was my oldest, David, and then Julian, who I obviously played with quite a bit in my career as well. So it was often, as soon as I could walk and kick a ball, really, I was down the park on a Saturday with them, doing heads and volleys, all that sort of stuff. Being put in goal, having football smashed against me, and it was just I've learned so much from them growing up. And then obviously, I think my mum and dad were always quite cautious with football to a certain extent all through, really. And even then, a lot of my friends were kind of going off and playing at 5-6 years old, whereas I only really started playing in a team when I was about 8, and it was club football that I kind of got into, as all my brothers had. And club football, I mean, it's a different world to nowadays. I was 8 years old playing with 11-year-olds. Full-size pitches, full-size goals, and it was just a crazy experience. Everyone's chasing around the ball. Wherever the ball is, there's about 22 players there as well. But it was fantastic. I played in a very successful club football team. Even now remember those days fondly. And then progressed again, as most of my brothers had, into playing for Mitchett Athletic. So just down the road. And it's just that was a great football club. It had so much tradition with our family, and we used to play at a little home venue called Bellow Road, and Bellow Road for me at the time was like the Wembley. We didn't always play there, but when we get to play there, it was brilliant. So yeah, it was just, I played as part of successful teams, which always helps. When you're enjoying it and you're growing up. I'd like to think I had a bit a big role to play in them being successful as well. But it was just, like I say, I learned so much from my brothers, and then obviously got a great footballing education with club football and Mitchett Athletic, and it just stood me in good stead for everything that was about to come after that. I mean, I actually started off as a right winger with the Cubs, and then just get rid of something. Started off with a right winger with the Cubs, then I went to centre midfield for Mitchett, and I really wanted to be a centre midfielder. And I remember turning up one game on a Saturday, and my manager at Mitchett, I think I was about 11 or 12, just putting me to one side and telling me he was going to play me up front. and I was absolutely gutted. I wasn't happy. I wanted to play centre midfield. So I went out, scored a hat trick, and never looked back. And that was it. After that, I was always a forward. So yeah, I always have him. Pete Cobbett was his name. Always have him to thank for turning me into the centre forward.
And got a bit here. You spent time at Millwall as a youngster. Is that right?
Yeah. So again, as part of a few connections at Mitchett, under 16s, I was at Millwall. So picked up quite late. Was there for a year. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the challenge. Playing against really good teams all the time. I remember going to Arsenal and playing at their training ground and things like that. All of a sudden it was a whole new world. And I was playing for Millwall on a Sunday morning, legging it back, playing for Mitchett on a Sunday afternoon. But I think it took its toll. My dad was driving me up there sort of 2-3 times a week. It was quite a long way. And then it came to the decision of, do I take YTS or do I go in education? And Millwall were good. They were offering me, a chance to go further. And in the end, I decided that there was too much of a risk at the time and decided that I wasn't enjoying it enough to do the YTS. So I kind of stuck to full-time education and then kind of went through the back door into professional football after that.
And that's right, isn't it? Because you noted, I suppose, locally first for your time at Camberley Town, and you had a really good time at Camberley, didn't you? A good club. Always had a great deal of time for Camberley. It's always a club I always look out for. You want them to do well. And they've had different periods over the years where they've had a set of players that have had a great camaraderie that sort of gets through. And I would think the time you were there was one of those periods.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Camberley Town was absolutely fantastic for me. I joined as part of the youth team. I was so green behind the ears. I just didn't know, or wet behind the ears. Sorry, I just didn't know what to expect from men's football or even youth team football. So really enjoyed being part of the youth team. Then I kind of progressed into the reserves. I think I was 17, playing reserve team football with my brother, and I've made already good mates. I mean, Camberley Town, like you say, the camaraderie of it. No one got paid. We used to train, until sort of 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then we'd all be in the bar until sort of 10 o'clock at night. Just having a social. Saturday we'd all play, then we'd be in the bar for a couple of hours, then we'd all go out together. And I mean, the team spirit there was absolutely phenomenal. And it was a successful time as well. Missed out on promotion narrowly a couple of seasons in a row. Obviously got to the FA Cup first round, having won sort of 6 games to get there, and having an amazing away day at Brentford. And it was just an education into men's football. All of a sudden I was 17, 18 years old, getting smashed around every week by proper blokes, and had to learn to take care of myself as quickly as possible. And my debut for Camberley was a friendly, and we played against a team who I think they were a league above. And after about 10 minutes, I went through and tried to head a ball on and got booted in the face and broke my nose and had to come off. And that was my debut in men's football. And it was something that made me grow up very quickly. But like you say, that it was the team spirit of that team was something that you could never replicate, just because, again, no one got paid. I mean, in the end, I think there was myself and Paul Hartness who got put on contracts in the second year because they thought we might end up going somewhere else and hopefully that would make the club a bit of money. So they put us on £10 a week. And I think by the time I left, I was owed about 140 quid. So you hardly ever saw the £10 a week, but it was fine. I just loved playing. So, and eventually it got me a move a bit further up the pyramid.
And you were playing with Ian Joplin at that time as well, weren't you?
Yes, yeah. He always claims that he taught me everything I know. There are certain things that he definitely did teach me. But yeah, I mean, it was great. Like I said, I was playing with my brother, Ian Joplin, and there were just so many characters in that team as well. And I obviously know Jopper's connection with Aldershot as well, with his dad, and having played there as well. So he was great to play with. And like I say, he took a lot of the physical stuff away from me as well, so I could concentrate on everything else.
And one thing, I don't think you ever played for Aldershot schools, did you?
No, so it was a weird one. Again, this is where I say I was a bit wet behind the ears. I just wasn't really ready for certain things in football when it came to Millwall and things like that. So I had a trial with Aldershot schools, maybe going to Cove School, playing in it, and then them having this chat. And this is how stupid these little things are. So I haven't admitted this to many people at the time, but they were talking at Aldershot schools about the process of everything that happened. And one of the things was the fact that you had to, after a game, you're expected to have a shower and then get changed again. it just scared the life out of me. I hadn't been in that environment before, like an academy environment or a centre of excellence environment where this sort of thing happened. So I just wasn't ready for it, and I ended up going out playing in the trial match and trying to play badly, just because I just wasn't ready for it. It was really, really strange. I actually did all right. I think I scored a couple, even though I was trying to play badly, which was stupid. I don't know why I did that. And I got selected, and I actually turned it down. So it was one of those things that, there are certain things, I can't regret anything in my career, in terms of where it went and what happened and the moments that I had. But there are certain things you'd love to have that sliding doors moment, just to go back and just live what the alternative reality could have been, or just see what would have happened. And I'd love to have played district football, and I wish I'd, been able to talk to myself probably as I could now to my sons and things, with the experience I've had, and just kind of reassure myself that actually, you know what, it is normal. Just get on with it. It'll be absolutely fine, and you'll really enjoy it. And something that I slightly regret not doing now, because it would have been another standard up as well.
So from Camberley, it's to Basingstoke Town, and you went with your brother as well. So Basingstoke, a good club in those days, strong. They'd had a good tradition of doing well in the Isthmian League over many years. They gave Aldershot their run for their money on many occasions, and came out in front of it a fair few times as well. So for you at that age and that stage of your career, that's a good move. Yeah,
absolutely. And it was 3 leagues up, going from Ryman Division 3 to the Ryman Premier, which obviously now, is the equivalent of National League South as it was. And it was like you say, another really good club. For me, it was nice that it was, again, fairly local, so only 20 minutes away. Going with my brother as well made it, even better. So, Basingstoke were very good. They came in, gave Camberley a bit of money for me, which was, for a club that didn't pay their players and relied on, just surviving somehow, that was a good thing. I went over there, and again, it was a mixed bag at Basingstoke. Real sort of mixed bag. I kind of really kicked on at times, and other times almost fell out of love with the game. We did well. We were kind of a bit like a bit of a yo-yo club. So sometimes, I think one season we were 3rd, the next season we were battling relegation, and then, the next season we'd do all right again. So it was a bit of a strange time. And I ended up in the end going on loan to Staines at one point, because I just wasn't enjoying it. I think Ernie Howe was the manager, who was, very much respected, and he's very well thought of, especially in local football. But Ernie and I just didn't really see eye to eye at times. I don't know if it was because I was a young player who had a bit of a voice about him, or what really. I just didn't really get that sense that Ernie massively respected the younger lads as much as he did with the older lads. And at times it was a bit of a struggle. So I ended up going on loan to Staines at one point, and that kind of really turned my career around, I have to say. And I don't know if that was something that you might have mentioned, but obviously then I played with Mark Butler up front at Staines, and went there, scored 8 in 6, scored one of the best goals that I've ever scored in a game against Leatherhead, and just it got my career back on track. Came back to Basingstoke, was firing on all cylinders, and it kind of really made me fall in love with football again.
Well, I've got the 8 in 6, but I never knew you played with Mark Butler there, so that's a good one. And of course, Mark, extremely well respected at Aldershot for what he did at Aldershot. Obviously, a different job now, still involved with Aldershot, doing a great job on the commercial side. But I would imagine for a young lad at that stage, a good sort of a good person to learn from.
Oh, absolutely, and it, even that month, it was only a month, but even while I was there, I remember him giving me just little bits of advice, just like not rushing shots when they come your way. When you get a chance, just take that little bit of time and have that bit more composure in it, and it just worked. And it was nice because I went there, didn't put too much pressure on myself, and I was able to express myself a little bit more. I was given the trust. Ken Ballard was the manager at the time, and he just kind of trusted us to go out and give it a go. And I know they were very keen to keep hold of me after that. But obviously with how I had been performing, and I think Basingstoke could see the potential that I had, they kind of were very keen for me to come back in the end. But yeah, it's just invaluable to play with someone who'd had the career that Butts has had. He was getting towards the end of it then. But yeah, like you say, learning off someone like that, it was brilliant for me. I knew that Aldershot had obviously been promoted, and I thought it's another progression in my career. So I spoke to Stuart, and then eventually, obviously, came in to meet Terry and Stuart, and John McGinty was there as well when I met him, and it all just kind of went from there. Really, that was how the Aldershot interest came around.